pandemic to be even more deadlier, but the latest variant that has emerged in the country has been of utmost alarming consequences and has been even more deadlier than the previous strain that was in fact witnessed in the country. Joining me on this broadcast shortly will be Dr. Samiran Pandey, who is the head of Epidemiology Division of the ICMR, to help us understand how both the vaccines of Covaxin and Covishield are in a way effective against this variant, and what kind of impact will these vaccines have as far as even if a person really comes in contact with the virus in some form. Thank you so much, Dr. Samiran, for joining us here on Republic TV. First of all, you have also co-authored a paper and said that there were, while reductions and were thoroughly on those lines, they showed that both Covishield and Covaxin were almost similarly protective against the B1617.
Yes, that's a good news indeed. In fact, we need to do our vaccination with the speed and with the coverage that would be able to really reduce the burden that we have and currently on the healthcare system in the country. The good news is that both these vaccines, when they were given, sera was collected from the vaccine recipients, and those sera were utilized to see in the laboratory if they could neutralize not only the old circulating strain, but also the newer strain, the newer variant, as we call them, or a mutant. And there was indication of the neutralization happening. But here I would also like to underline that it's not just the neutralizing antibody which was examined for its ability to neutralize, but also the cell-mediated immune arm. So immunity against any disease has got two arms. One is antibody-mediated arm, which is called humoral arm of the immunity, and the other arm is cell-mediated arm of the immunity. So I would say that the immunity is not just one agent-mediated or one phenomena-mediated monolithic phenomena. So we need not be worried about the circulating strains now or the mutants now. What we should all do is to leave behind our hesitancy around the vaccines and move ahead. And of course, with the current vaccination program, the prioritized groups need to be covered, and then slowly we move on to the other groups. However, the vaccination speed, if it reaches the desired speed and the coverage, then certainly not only vaccination, of course, but the usage of masks by a considerable proportion of individuals in the society would be able to break the chain of transmission of SARS-CoV-2.
In fact, Dr. Panda, the basic nature of the virus is to mutate, and we might expect more such variants to come out. But specifically talking about this variant, which has turned out to be even more deadlier than the previous one, if you can, for the viewers' understanding, help us understand how effectively do these vaccines work in protecting people if they take one or two shots or complete their vaccination doses if they do come in contact with a virus or any of such circumstances?
That's a very good, important question from public health perspective. So while the viruses proliferate, they do mutate. There are errors which happen. And some of the errors actually get manifested in the form of part of the gene getting deleted or one amino acid getting replaced by another. Not that all the mutants provide any survival, advantage to the virus, but some of the mutants do provide survival advantage. So when we talk about survival advantage, we have to appreciate, and it's better for our understanding to realize that viruses, in order to survive, require living cells. And here we are talking about SARS-CoV-2, and the host for SARS-CoV-2 virus is human cells. So when the mutations happen, some of the mutants do spread at a much faster pace or speed, with much faster speed. And then it infects a large number of people in a very short period of time. So it's a transmission efficient mutant, and the survival advantage of the virus is that it goes and infects many more hosts, and so they are able to get living cells to survive. However, it does not necessarily make a mutant or mutation which provides transmission efficiency to the virus, does not necessarily make the virus more lethal. Because if the virus kills its host, then the virus won't be able to, spread from one host to another, because the host needs to be alive in order to be able to speak and sneeze and cough or whatever that facilitates the transmission of the aerosol. So what I would say that this new mutant is able to transmit pretty fast, and if it spreads fast, naturally it will infect a large number of people, amongst whom there will be elderly people, there will be some individuals who will have comorbidities, and as we know from the natural history of the disease, that they are susceptible to advanced form of the disease. So the point I'm trying to make is that the vaccines which are being currently used, they are disease-modifying vaccines. So even if I get the infection with the new variant, the variant won't be successful in pushing the disease course to an advanced stage where I might require getting admitted in the hospital, or I might require oxygen. Some unfortunate event of death also might happen. All those get prevented. The point I'm trying to make is that these vaccines are disease-modifying vaccines, but they're not infection-preventing vaccines. So we need to use masks along with ourselves getting vaccinated. And if we do it hand in hand, then we will be able to break the chain of transmission.
All right. Many thanks, Dr. Samiran Panda, for joining us here on Republic TV. We do hope through your messaging as well as thoughts, certainly more and more people will be encouraged to go out there and get vaccinated.